thing about myself is I'm a very competitive person. Failure is not an option.
Having a lot of the bad things happen to me, putting me into the hospital and learning from that, I started reflecting back and saying, you know what, I got into this industry to be healthy. I want to get myself into the best shape of my life, not only for my age, for any age, to get myself ripped up like I did in a competition. I need to step forward. By being humble, by being passionate, Gaspari Nutrition, it's the sky's the limit.
The one thing about myself is I'm a very competitive person. Failure is not an option. So, in business, there's some things that are just beyond your control. You're dealing with employees, you're dealing with outside forces that sometimes you just can't really do anything about. And that's one thing that's very difficult for me because, when I go for something, I go to win, I go not to fail. And when things do happen that are not really what you want to have happen, it affects me and it affects me mentally. And actually the stress from me basically not being able to do what I wanted to do and things that were happening around me were things that I didn't want to happen and there was things that I just couldn't control, landed me in the hospital because of stress. I had to look back at that and say to myself, I needed to make changes in my life. And some of the things that I did to make the changes were putting the right people in place in my business. It was too difficult for me to be Superman to try to do everything. I did have some good people that worked for me, but I needed to make more changes and have the right people in the business that can handle a lot of the day-to-day activities, look at the books, look at things that were happening in the business itself. And the vision was still mine, but having the right people in place to run my business properly. I mean, that was very important. And, I saw a doctor and I saw a cardiologist and he basically said, the life that you're leading will eventually make you die at a young age from the stress. So I had to totally look at this and say, you know what? I have to change the way I am. The most important thing is my health, and I have younger kids and I want to be alive for these kids, when they go to college and get married. And I thought about things like that. I came from where my father was much older and I lost my father at 35. My father never got to see the success of Gaspari Nutrition. So I thought about wanting to live as long as I can to see my kids do as much as they can and live to 100 years old, hopefully. As a bodybuilder, I learned to eat every couple hours to keep my metabolism up, to eat the proper foods, protein, complex carbohydrates, vegetables. And I was just eating 3 to 4 times a day, which is not what I'm supposed to be able to portray as this health advocate. What was really important is I planned my day in eating my food the right way. But then there's also, it's even easier because there's people like Carlo Filippone, who's an IFBB pro, has a business called In Motion Meals that actually has meals prepared already that gives you the protein, carbohydrates, fats, it has the vegetables, fibers. So there's no excuses in being able to eat properly. You just have to do it. Learning health and nutrition and health awareness has to start at a young age. The biggest problem with this country is why we become the most fattest in the world is because, there's junk food that's very easily attainable. Kids don't really learn about nutrition. It has to be taught at a very early age. I'm very impressed with the president's wife, Michelle Obama, who's pushing health awareness with these kids to eat properly at a very young age, because kids don't know any better. You can brainwash them to eat junk food and they're gonna eat junk food. But if you teach them on how to eat properly, eating vegetables, eating proper, nutrition through protein and supplementation as they get older, they're gonna be healthier. I work a lot where I travel. As the face of the company, I'm the guy who's the face of the company that has to go different places throughout the world. I go to Europe, I've been to Asia, I've been to Africa, everywhere in the United States you can think of, I've been there, as a representative of Gaspari Nutrition. I'm not afraid to be out there in the public eye, but it's also important that with all this traveling that I keep a balance with family. And it does become hard because, you know, my wife has to be understanding, and it is hard for her as well, even though she works in the company.
So after working all day, I love to come home and give them all a perfect meal. Now this is for the children because no one eats the same food in this household. These are homemade pierogies. You know, balancing family with work is definitely not easy. You know, I'd love to sit here and tell you how easy it is and be like Martha Stewart, but you know, it takes a lot out of me. It takes a lot out of the kids from us traveling and Rich traveling all the time. And I have to play mommy, daddy, wife, business owner, therapist constantly. And helping Rich, I make the time. I know he's passionate and he wants to do this and he's got this transformation. I think it's awesome and it's amazing that he's doing it, and watching him do it is incredible. He showed me a different way of life, to eat better, take care of myself. I mean, I honestly don't train as much as I should, but that's where work comes in all the time, and the kids. I feel like I need to dedicate my time to the kids, and any other time I have, I'm cooking Rich's meals and separate meals for the children. I put everybody first before I put myself, but now I kind of stuck myself in there to give myself a better life, to be a better mother, a better wife, and I actually feel much better thanks to him inspiring me.
So you have to make balance. You got to make time to just spend time with the family. And sometimes it is hard, especially now in this preparation to look the way I want to do. They've been, you know, put back a little bit for me to be able to do this. But afterwards, you know, I can go away. I have a house in Florida that we just spend time at to relax. Going away with the kids, going to the boardwalk, the Jersey Shore, Seaside Heights in the summertime, spending time in the pool. All these things with the kids are very important. But we do try to make time for ourselves, going out, getting a babysitter, going out to dinner, doing things like that, which is really important. Because just working and no play doesn't make a healthy person, and that, you know, and that's one thing that I've learned, that I need to stay well balanced. When I competed as a pro, I was very focused, and my focus was to win and always look my best. My edge was always my shape, my definition, my muscularity. If I lost that edge, I would get beaten. So it was very important that I had to keep that edge.